Well, welcome into the channel podcast. It is September the 8th, 2024. The Vols absolutely dominate NC State at 51-10. The defense absolutely annihilates the Wolfpack. Nico still looks elite. And this past weekend shows you and provided you with content of who are the frauds of college football in week 2. Because the biggest jump, I believe, myself, is from week 1 to week 2. Did you determine how good a team actually kind of is? And there are a lot of frauds out there. Well, gentlemen, we rolled into Carolina, into their home turf, bent them over, and showed them all 50 states. That's what we did. And we got the win. We walked out in dominating fashion, 51-10. Tennessee's good. Good. They are really good at football. And there were a lot of frauds this weekend. I mean, you had Notre Dame getting upset by Northern Illinois. You had Oklahoma barely squeaking past Houston, which is a really bad team. Penn State looked terrible against Bowling Green. I mean, it was just a crazy weekend of college football. But we're here to talk about one thing before we get to that, and that is our Tennessee Volunteers. They spanked NC State 51-10, and their fan base is like, we're gonna win by 10. We're gonna win by 10. Buddy, you only scored 10. You only scored 10. So that's bad enough in itself. You only scored 10. And it's Nico's for real. The defense is for real. This team, I think, is for real. We were talking about before we went on the podcast on air here that you can just, when Alabama back in the day had a terrible game, they would kill people, even though they had a bad game. And Tennessee didn't have a great game on offense. They didn't have like a really great game, but then you look up and they got 51 points. So that's what good teams do. They play bad and they still kill the opponent. And I think Tennessee's got a pretty good team. But anyway, how we doing, DR? How we doing, Austin? What are your first initial thoughts on that game, DR?
My first initial thought, that game, if you had to put it into a meme, it would be that picture of Michael Scott when he was standing with his old boss where he looks awkward holding the hand. And you see that meme used a lot, like when you're part of the group project, you didn't really do anything. And not that we didn't do anything, but yeah, like I just – last night I remember complaining, man, we look off on offense. We look terrible. But think of last year, the Austin Peay game. We were off on offense, and we didn't put up 51 points. And last night, NC State – a ranked ACC team. Granted, they're probably not a top 25 team, maybe a fringe top 25 team. And before you know it, we had 51 points. It just blows my mind. And rewatching the game today, man, you could really tell like we were in their heads. They knew that how much better we were than them, and that is a good feeling to have. Because the last 15 years we've been so bad, and like every once in a while we say in it with a really good team, it's like we have to play perfect, or we're going to lose this game. And last night, I mean, you had what would you grade the offense? B-, if that?
I'd say C minus.
I'd say C+, B-.
And you still beat them by 41.
Yeah.
Like the offense wasn't like stunning and like stellar. They made a lot of splash plays, but when they scored, they made it look easy.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't hard. It wasn't difficult. Like the passes from Nico, it's just you watch this guy throw the ball. You watch him throw it downfield. It's so effortless to him. It's so effortless. And Nico did have a pick six, but honestly, that wasn't his fault because his arm got hit as he threw the ball, and it kind of just popped in the air and it fell right into the defender's hands. But when Nico is throwing the ball, man, it is just so effortless and so easy for him. And it's just placed in a perfect spot for our wide receivers.
He's smooth.
Smooth.
Yeah, he's smooth. It wasn't yeah, it was a C plus, probably C game. I guess that's about fair. Um it just felt like I think Nico had a little trouble with 3-3-5. He wasn't used to seeing that type of defense, and things were a little more clouded up in the secondary. But that opened up room in the box to get some easy yards for Samson. Samson, man, he was slippery. He was everywhere, all over the field. That was nice, and we got some good pass to the tight ends. Remember the touchdown pass, Nico's first touchdown pass to Kitzelman. And he just slips right through that secondary, and he is all alone in the end zone. And it's so nice to not have a QB that overthrows that pass. And you saw Heupel's reaction on the sideline. I know that was like a super satisfying moment for him. Like when you really trick a defense that bad. It was such a. I love it when I get a good fat boy jump out of Heupel.
Did you watch Heupel a lot on the sideline, Austin?
Oh, I was in the 500s. I couldn't tell you anything about that.
Never mind.
For my season tickets in Neyland, yeah, I have better view than anyone of him. But there, I couldn't see much of anything besides the crackhead who wouldn't leave me alone in the section next to us.
Oh, did he rap for you?
No. Just was just was really jittery and would not shut up about. I don't know, nothing, and it was making everyone uncomfortable.
Really?
We eventually got the people someone to kick him out. Actually,
So you kept texting about that. Like, what do you mean? Like they just wouldn't shut up? Like, because you kept texting me like I'm sitting next to this like meth addict, this meth head.
he was shirtless.
I'm like,
tattoos all over. A lot of Patriots tattoos. He had like 3 New England Patriots.
how do you get in
tattoos.
a ball game? Like, I
don't know. He kept yelling at people and just like be like making like yelling stuff at girls too, and just like it was like, and like for some reason his seat wasn't even next to mine. My seat just happened to be open next to me because we're way up high, and he would not leave me and my buddy alone. Just decided that was his place. That was where he found found himself most comfortable. Thank God we got rid of him, but.
Was he a Tennessee fan or NC State?
He was
fan?
from Vermont. I don't think he cared about anything.
was he lost? Was he lost?
Yeah, what
Like,
is going on?
I just think
What is happening?
he's a meth head that found his way into an NFL stadium on a Saturday night, and
He probably slept there the night before. He's
Like
probably
a little
homeless.
boy. Yeah, he probably always. He was sleeping in the
Remember-
locker rooms.
remember the guy during COVID he climbed over the wall to Fenway. Was that like a situation with him on Friday night? He just climbed over the wall at Bank of America Field and said, "I'm just gonna stay here until I can't anymore, until I get the jitters too bad."
I was asking if you watched Heupel because I rewatched it a while ago. What did he do to get that sideline warning? I know the announcer said he kind of freaked out because that was when Nico missed that. It would have been a touchdown to Brew, and he did something. I know when the camera shot to him, man, he just looked like he'd been spanked in the cheek or something.
Well, he's
Like he was
gotten in trouble
embarrassed.
for stuff before. Like I remember in the Orange Bowl, he was yelling at the ref to place the ball. I wonder if it was something like that. I can't quite remember when it happened. If it was like on a first down, but I don't know.
Yeah, it was Heupel. It's I want to actually real quick. I want to talk about the defense because we're talking about Nico. We talk about all the scoring, but the defense has been so elite. Like this season, what was the stat you posted? Some stat DR earlier on the Facebook channel page about how many points they've scored since Nico started compared to the defense. I can't remember exactly what the stat was, but it was like 115 points to like 13 or something.
Yeah, the last 3 games, our offense has given up more points than the defense, 7-6.
Yes, and it's wild because our defense is. Would you say we have the best defensive line in the country? No bias.
No bias.
I haven't watched Georgia play this year, honestly. Well, I watched play a little bit against Clemson.
Yeah,
I mean,
we're probably the deepest. I do wonder with how deep we are, man, we're just going to wear out offensive linemen. I wonder if people start having to rotate offensive linemen.
I
don't know.
I mean, we do. So
Because we have fresh guys.
Yeah.
Constantly.
We literally have
we
10,
rotate our own O-line, so I mean, people, I mean, they're gonna have to.
but we literally have 10 defensive linemen who, and there's not a big drop off between any of them, except for maybe like James Pierce and like, well, you got Joseph's out there. Like, I mean,
Pierce didn't even actually do a whole lot. Well, I think Pierce demands attention, so it opens up everything. Like he only had 0.5 tackles for loss yesterday, but he was a part of everything. It felt like, and was a part of causing.
He put a lot of pressure on the quarterback because he was coming off the edge so fast, and it made the quarterback just switch directions of what he was trying to do, completely switch up what he's trying to do. And Kirk Herbstreit pointed that out a lot in the broadcast last night about how like he's getting off the edge so fast that quarterbacks are having to literally change the way they're thinking the second they look over and see him coming so fast. And it was just the defensive line is just unbelievable. I mean, Amari Thomas, you got just all them dudes that could just rotate in and out nonstop. And it doesn't. There was a couple points in the game where they had hands on hips, but then they would just rotate the next guy in and keep rotating. It's like they never got tired, and you could see it. Like midway through the game, North Carolina State's offensive line was dead. Like they were dying.
Oh yeah. And man, you know what's funny? One thing I noticed is how fast we are. Not just defensive line, but dude, our linebackers, Keenan Peely played his butt off. And freaking Aaron Carter, dude, he's been playing the NFL one day. God. That dude is like, he could probably run with the DBs with his speed. It is nuts.
I thought he killed that running back for a minute there.
Yeah.
That play. Oh my God. He comes in like a freaking, just like a superhero. I mean, it's literally like, how is a person? How are you a human being? He's questioning everything about it. But man, this defense, it's just, when we hired Heupel from UCF, what did the UCF fans come and tell us? You're not going to have a defense. You ain't going to recruit. You're not going to develop your players. You might score some points, but that's about it. What are we doing? We're recruiting better than almost anyone in the SEC outside of, 4 teams, but because it's the SEC. But our guys are getting developed like nothing else, and we've played 8 quarters of football in 2024, and we have yet to give up an offensive touchdown. I mean, that's the real thing. I looked it up. Only one other time in history have we had back-to-back top 25 wins without letting up one offensive touchdown, and that was in the 30s. It's literally this defense is so freaking good. The only thing that gives you pause is the secondary. Like there was separation on the receivers. There was even on that pick 6, you saw how if Grayson McCall makes a better read and checks his guys, he can probably score a touchdown there. But you know why he didn't? Why they didn't get a touchdown there and he threw the pick 6? Because he has to think, oh my God, I have to get this ball out as fast as humanly possible. So I can't really go through my reads. I don't have that much time. So I have to just decide who I'm throwing to already. And that's what happened. And Will Brooks, the guy we criticized the most, who we didn't originally starting, we didn't really have. I think DR got
DR did a little bit too. DR did too.
DR got banned from his from his Antonio Brown comment. Yeah. I mean, and I don't know how good Will Brooks is still. I mean, it was a really bad pass. Something like it was a amazing play or something. Like he made it when it happened, but still.
Yeah, it goes with what you're saying, Austin. Like you brought up like the most perfect point though about our defensive line. When you continually get that much pressure on the quarterback, he like locks in a receiver. Is like, I got to get it to him as quick as I possibly can because I know they're going to be on me, because the amount of times you looked up and our defensive line was burying that quarterback, and the amount of times you looked up and the ball was snapped and our defensive line just pushed their offensive line back into the quarterback basically before he even got to move around. So yeah, you're right, Austin. Like when that happens, like you have to make a decision quick, because on that play with that Will Brooks interception, you sent a screenshot to us earlier in a group text, and I saw the same thing that you did. There was a guy wide open that could have walked into the end zone. Grayson McCall just threw it up in his area, but he didn't because he was pressured so quickly all game. And that's in your head. That's a mind game. It's like, okay, what if I'm pressured? Where do I go with this ball? Like, that's immediately what he thinks of when he hikes the ball. He's like, I'm going to be under pressure immediately. I got to get it out of my hands quick. And that's what he did. He threw it quick because it was in his brain, in his head.
His body language, man. You watch him when the camera would show him on the sideline on breaks, and he just looked like a deer in the headlights. Like, what am I getting myself into? Because again, he's never seen a team like this. The speed. I mean, he played what, Liberty for all those years?
Coastal, I think.
Coastal. That's right. Coastal's coach went to Liberty. But on that pick six, I kept rewinding it. But Grayson McCall does not throw a pretty ball. So, because at first I was like, did Jonathan Josephs tip it? But even Kirk Herbstreit talked about, like, he got up so high that Grayson just tried to throw it high, and he just sailed over the receiver.
But yeah, I mean the whole like
yeah, no one disagree with that. What do you think? We think we're athletic. I am unathletic as they come.
Yeah,
Slim Josh Heupel chimes in. Brooks has more athleticism than a three of you saltines have ever had. That's not the first time that I've been called a saltine. I prefer
Captain Wafer. Honestly, I think they taste a little bit better. Got a little tan to it. You know, you're talking about the defense, though, man. A pick six is going to be pretty anyway. But I noticed it when I rewinded it was Peely, Aaron Carter, and Boo Carter, dude, following him. I don't know what it was. That gave me chills. Like that, they were running with him just as happy as if they would have had it. And that was so pretty to watch. And that would have happened without Peely. That block he had. I don't know if it was a receiver or running back, but he knocked the crap out of that dude. And that's when he broke loose.
Did you see the ref? He looked long and hard, like he was about to throw a block in the back. And that would have sucked. Yeah. You couldn't do that to a walk-on, and he wasn't going to catch him. So that would have pissed me off. Thank God it didn't happen.
But was it really a block? I thought he hit him face to face.
It was like kind of on the side. It was kind of on the side.
I thought he drove him straight to the ground.
I mean, but we've seen bad penalties called before. It's a Big Ten crew.
Yeah. You know if,
what?
Go ahead.
Oh, one other thing. Y'all are talking about the I can't remember, it was a running back or whatever. Was it Peely that absolutely destroyed the guy? It was, I can't remember. I think it was first quarter. It was first quarter where Peely absolutely destroyed the guy over the middle. I mean, blew him up.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, is that because y'all were talking about the block on the interception, but there was another play where Peely he like throws the ball over the middle, or the running back. I can't remember exactly the exact play, but Peely just took the dude's head off. I for sure thought it was gonna be helmet to helmet. For sure, but it wasn't. But Peely killed the guy. Killed him.
Do you sit here and wonder, why did NC State fans think they could win this game? It's like, did you think they didn't know our team? Did we think for once, I was legit like, I don't see it at all.
I didn't either. I thought the same thing. I was like, are they holding back or what? Because there was a lot of talk about that Belton, that left tackle. He sucked. I mean, maybe our defense line is just that good, but he was horrible, man.
Uh-huh.
He looked just like, and I made the joke on Twitter, but the more I watched him, he really did look just like Dontavius Blair.
Yeah, I saw that. And you're right.
They're a bunch of backup offensive linemen. That's all they looked like.
Well, you're right, DR, because he was just a big guy.
Yeah, he wasn't good.
Because
you're quick.
Because you're big doesn't mean you're good.
Well, Larry Johnson is on the bench for a reason.
Yeah.
Well,
I did see that comment you said about Dontavius Blair.
Yeah, like,
it's so true.
It was tongue in cheek, but the more I watched, I was like, man, that is a really spot on comparison. And for those that didn't watch football back then, Dontavius Blair was a big get. He was a big guy, but he sucked. He was awful. Remember, he was supposed to replace Tiny Richardson when he left, and he didn't do much. And I told that to Starla during the game. You remember he got that penalty because he's too back in the backfield. I said, if you watch, he's doing that because he's getting beat off the line every time, and he's trying to make up that time by standing back. He's awful. If that's their best offensive lineman, man, they're in for it. Because Clemson, as bad as they are, they're going to eat his lunch too.
Well, let's talk about
I don't know how they beat them last year.
Well,
makes no sense.
You speak about Clemson, like real quick, not to change the subject here, but Clemson beat App State 66-20. Like, is Georgia that good, or is just Clemson just had like a really bad game?
I think it's a little bit of both.
I
Little bit of
mean,
both?
well, here's the difference. Your receivers are going up against DBs that will stay with them every step when it's Georgia, and then App State, you can just pick up some speed and you'll be gone because they
but
can't
it's
get those
Clemson.
type of athletes.
But is Clemson that bad? Because I mean,
Oh,
that's 66 points right there. I mean, that's a lot of points that they couldn't even. Like last week against Georgia, I get it's Georgia, but Clemson last week looked like they couldn't even. They didn't even know a playbook. They never played football in their life, and it was just simple fundamentals that Clemson just looked completely irrelevant at. And this week they come out and blow the doors off App State. And App State's not a bad team. They're never a bad team.
Georgia can do a lot of what we were doing in the NC State. Getting the quarterback before they can think, and covering their receivers pretty. I mean, no one has a better secondary than Georgia, athleticism wise. I mean, that's what it is.
That's one thing. They showed the weight of our offensive line. I don't know what Austin's saying that made me think of that. They showed the weight of our offensive linemen. Our left tackle's 340, and then our left guard was 310. Cooper was 310, and then you had 330 on the right side. I think we finally got the line that maybe you can give Nico a little bit of time against Georgia this year.
Our friend Bev chimes in and says, a man sitting behind me last night said Nico was only a running quarterback, not a throwing quarterback. Why do people already hate Nico?
They think he's cocky. I don't. Yeah,
I don't understand it. You know who he reminds me of? Kind of. He reminds me of kind of like a Jalen Hurts when he was at Alabama and all that stuff. And everyone's like, he's so cocky. I'm like, dude, he never says a word.
He throws better than Jalen Hurts.
That was me, Rainey.
I'm not comparing them like that.
I don't.
I remember Jalen Hurts was there. It was really hard to hate him. Honestly, I kind of liked him, even though he played for Bama. He seemed like a humble dude. Honestly,
like Jalen Hurts and like Bryce Young, they never did anything. They just went out there and played football.
He went to work.
Yeah, exactly. He went to work.
Have you heard the story of he's the only player that's ever made Nick Saban cry because of how proud he was for staying there and putting in the work even when he was benched.
Yeah, that's just it's wild. Like I don't ever understand like Alabama quarterbacks or Alabama players that I've hated. Like they were chirpy and chippy. That's mainly Florida for me. Alabama never was really chirpy because
AJ McCarron. I didn't like him because he was kind of chirpy.
Okay, AJ
McCarron
was cocky. I agree with that. Yeah. He was cocky, but I don't know.
Well, like Tim Tebow. Tim Tebow wasn't cocky, but we hated him because he was good.
Yeah, but you know what? You know what? Here's what the good thing I believe is why it's so good. People already hate Nico because they know he's damn good.
They know it's coming.
They know it's coming. And they know he's good. You don't hate people unless they're good. Like you just don't. And these people, these fans, they know it's coming.
Exactly. It's why I could never hate Austin.
I just got that. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
But man, do you guys feel like we know much about this team? I feel like I know we're really good, but also I don't think NC State is worth a damn. How many teams in the SEC you think NC State would beat on neutral field?
I don't know. They beat Vandy the way Vandy's looked this year, honestly.
Maybe Auburn.
I don't think Vandy is that great. I know they
Kentucky.
beat Virginia Tech. Vandy didn't look great this week against James Madison or whoever they played.
They won 55-0.
Yeah, they beat Alcorn State.
Yeah, Alcorn State.
The Braves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I get it was 45-0. But like it's just NC State. I don't think NC State's very good at all.
Well, Rob just had a comment about how weird college football is this year, and he's right. Like, we don't know a lot about a lot of teams. I'm not impressed by the Texas win over Michigan. I don't think Michigan's any good. Their quarterback's not any good.
I think Michigan is flat garbage.
Yeah, I do too. And like Notre Dame got shot up in the rankings because they beat a terrible Texas A&M team that was ranked. And now we know that they're garbage. And now we know, as always, Notre Dame's overrated. We don't actually know who's good. And like Missouri's not going to play anybody good till later in the year. We don't know how good they are.
Bama.
We're in
Bama was
more-
in a one-score game with USF with 6 minutes left in the fourth quarter. And I will say, I said from the go, I think they're not going to be that great this year. I think 9-3 team.
And look at
hang on.
Oklahoma.
Hey, real quick. I just got a text message, just real quick. This has nothing to do with what we're talking about. But our friend Lacey, who is part of Channel Still, just sent me a text. LaMarcus Coker. She just booked him. She works for a jail. She just booked LaMarcus Coker for possession of meth.
Oh. Didn't she get him once before?
Yeah. So she just booked LaMarcus Coker, former Tennessee player, LaMarcus Coker, for meth.
I almost feel bad for that. I mean, I hate how it went for him. He had a lot of talent. Sucks.
That was out of the blue. I just had to share that real quick.
There was a real method to his madness, huh?
Yeah.
Randy finds it so funny that people are struggling in life.
And addiction's hilarious.
That's funny guy we got here. he just read article like drug bust in Philly. Look at those addicts.
Well, we did start off.
It's not something a method did. It's just the existence of a method.
Austin's no better. Austin's making fun of a homeless man living in a stadium. He called him a crackhead.
He wouldn't leave me alone.
Just because you're a crackhead.
You literally just had a meth joke to start the podcast.
Well, he wouldn't leave me alone. What will Marcus Coker do to you?
Now you're drilling me? Okay.
Well, you seem mean. You seem kind of mean. Didn't it seem kind of mean? Am I off there?
How is that mean stating a fact that I just got a text of someone booked LaMarcus Coker for meth? How is that mean? Literally, that's mean. I got breaking news. LaMarcus Coker is a meth head. Got booked for meth.
You know, it's sad. A lot of our audience is under 20-something years old and have no clue who we're talking about.
Austin, you think Rainey gets on mobile
He was a running back for Tennessee. They got kicked off the team because of possession and other stuff.
Hey, he's nothing but consistent in life.
Mm-hmm.
Austin, you think Rainey gets on mobile patrol, looks at all, and is like, "Ha, got him!"
Bad boys, what you gonna do? Rainey's sitting there with a big bucket of popcorn.
Was that a monkey? I don't understand that one.
Oklahoma looked very bad.
Did Oklahoma lose or barely win? Justin Lee Oliver chimes in. Did Oklahoma lose or barely win?
They won.
They barely won.
They barely won.
Watch that game.
They 16-12. Led up a safety late.
There's some people saying they think Tulane may beat them next week if they play like X. Tulane's not that bad of a team. I don't know. I haven't watched Tulane play, but
I don't want Tulane to beat them.
What's that?
I don't want them to beat them.
I don't either.
I don't either.
I want them undefeated.
I don't know that.
But here, honest to God, when you're going to get beat on a line of scrimmage like that, I don't think it matters. I think we're winning.
Yeah. So did you watch the game then, Austin? Oklahoma? Game? Yeah.
I saw highlights of it.
Yeah. Ben Nelson chimed in thoughts on Oklahoma struggles. I watched a lot of the game. Went back and kind of watched it. I've been doing that all day. On one of my TVs, kind of going back and watching all the college football games to prep for this podcast. And Oklahoma looked bad. They just look bad. Like their offensive line is terrible.
Yeah.
Their offensive line is terrible.
Because they replaced it all.
They replaced all five starters.
New offensive linemen. Has that ever worked in the history of time? Have you ever replaced all five offensive linemen and had a good O-line? I don't think it's ever happened. And most of them were transfers. It's just that's a bad idea with a first year starter. Isn't he first year? I can't remember. I don't think they had Gabriel last year, didn't they?
So is that why the quarterback looks bad? Because everything I kept hearing was about how bad their quarterbacks look the first two games. Is it because he can't get any time in the pocket, kind of like y'all were talking about Levis before we started?
Well, he was the quarterback rated ahead of Nico, right?
I thought he was right one behind. Yeah, I thought Nico was one and he was two.
It was like top five QBs were one Arch Manning. I mean, On Three had one Nico and two Arch Manning, but the consensus had it one Arch Manning, two Nico. I think there was another guy, and then number 4 was Arnold.
Yeah.
for overall recruits.
Yeah. So Arnold is up there with Nico, and the difference between it is like what we just stated. I think is offensive line for Arnold because, I mean, you're barely you beat. And Houston's bad. Houston's not what Houston used to be. Houston used to be good at football, and they are trash now. Like Houston is not.
They got
good.
blown out by UNLV the week before.
Yes, they did. Austin, 100% correct.
Oh.
Yeah, they got blown out by UNLV, and then Oklahoma comes in there and beats them by 4 points, and they needed a safety to feel safe because they were only down by 2, and Oklahoma, I think, sacked them at the very end of the game with like 2 minutes left to get a safety. And that's how the game ended, basically. But Oklahoma, they look bad.
I'm serious. We can just play conservative football and beat them. I don't think we have to
Really?
I don't think we have to open the playbook really until Bama. Maybe Arkansas. Arkansas looks better than Oklahoma.
Well,
That may be a jump. That may be a jump because
that quarterback looked good.
He does look good, but he does make bad decisions.
Arkansas.
We got better defense than Oklahoma State.
I watched an entire Arkansas game. And Arkansas, have they done this in previous years under Sam Pittman where they just kind of start off and you're like, oh, well, they look good. And then just kind of fall off a little bit. The second half of that game, Arkansas just kind of, oh, we're Arkansas. And they just kind of like started doing Arkansas stuff. That was the most entertaining game of the whole weekend. Like that game
was awesome.
Awesome to watch.
Yeah.
But
well, and you're talking about frauds. Is Oklahoma State a fraud? Because a lot of people thought Sam Pittman, him or Napier, was going to be one of the first SEC coaches fired, and here they are hanging with a potential playoff team.
Well, you got Bobby Petrino.
Oklahoma State's a weird team. Oklahoma State's a weird team. Like sometimes, I remember last year they got blown out by South Alabama, and then they made the conference championship game. They're such a here and there team, so it's hard to say. Arkansas, though, I do like that quarterback, but he's still the guy from Boise State because what his problem was at Boise State was that, yeah, he had a lot of highlight plays, a lot of great touchdowns, but he also would meet that with an interception, kind of like a Jameis Winston type. So it's what do you take the good with the bad with him, in my opinion. But that's going to be not an easy win. I think that's going to be an interesting game. I'm happy we come off a bye week for that game.
Yeah. Oklahoma. Okay, so let's talk about Oklahoma real quick because next week's going to be an easy win, and because what we mentioned earlier, Tennessee is one of those teams. It's just like they're good.
And Kent State. Kent State is not a normal MAC team. They are the worst MAC team ever. I think they got their ass whooped by St. Francis, who I didn't know actually played football. I thought that's just basketball. They got blown out by a small college in Pennsylvania, a Catholic school in Pennsylvania. They're really bad. I feel actually bad for that program because they got really good like 2 years ago, and then their coach left, and literally I think like 50 players went in the portal and just were gone, and they just basically had to start it from scratch again. It's because in the group of 5 now, you get punished when you're good. That's what happens. Oh, we got good. Bye, everybody, including the coach. Damn.
So Tennessee should just absolutely blow past them. I mean, they're like you said, Austin. They're just a bad team. They're just bad overall.
Mm-hmm.
So Tennessee, go ahead.
Well, here's why I'm cautious about it, because we all know Josh Heupel on the road sometimes lay an egg. I mean, look what happened in Missouri last year. Does that not worry y'all? Because I know what Nico said, he likes being on the road, but this will be his first true road game. It's going to be Oklahoma's first game playing an SEC foe as an SEC member. The place is going to be electric, and you got Josh Heupel returning, and they love Josh Heupel out there. Do y'all worry about that?
I think that no, I don't worry about that. I honestly think Josh Heupel has this. Austin, you said, open up the playbook about, Alabama game. I think Josh Heupel is going to open up the playbook in this Oklahoma game because I think Josh Heupel has this triple circled on his calendar, and I think Josh Heupel is going to boat race the hell out of Oklahoma. I think it'll be real close early, but we're not talking about Tennessee as we're rebuilding. We got the Hendon Hooker. We don't have the parts yet. We don't have the pieces yet.
And we're built.
Of the Hendon Hooker. Exactly. We have built up, and we have a quarterback that nothing phases him. If you watched the game last night against NC State, Hendon Hooker, Nico threw that interception. What did he do the next possession right after that interception? He goes right down the field and just scores immediately.
Mm-hmm.
Stuff like that does not face him. He is the most chill, relaxed quarterback I've ever seen play at Tennessee, besides maybe Casey Clausen. Like, just the most relaxed. Nothing really phases him. He makes a mistake, and he just forgets about it immediately. It's over. It's out of his brain. It doesn't affect him. Because when he threw that pick six, I was like, all right, I'm kind of worried to see how he responds here. And he responded with a massive drive for a touchdown.
I actually agree with you, but also I will say you don't know what you have in a quarterback until they play truly on the road against a big-time opponent. That is a whole different can of tomatoes, or whatever the phrase is. It's a whole different can of worms. That's the thing I was looking for. I'm sorry. Whole different can of worms. Because, like, I've seen the best quarterbacks in the world fall apart in those stadiums facing, 5-star former or future NFL players on defense. But I do think you are correct. I do think he is that type of guy. I mean, I don't think he'll be not affected at all by it, because I think he is human. He's a human, and that people get affected by this thing. And but I do think we win that game just because we're so much better than them. And I will say Heupel does have that circled on his calendar, triple. Because here's the thing. He spent 15 years of his career at Oklahoma. From the age of 20 to the age of 35, Norman, Oklahoma was his home. And it started out, he was an unknown quarterback, and then he rose to Heisman contender status and gave them their first national championship since the Barry Switzer days. He brought them, he was their hero. He was their absolute hero. And then he was beloved for his entire time there until the very end, when things started to go bad or they had a not that great year, and he was kind of used as a scapegoat. And you know how we are. If we had like a bunch of 10-win years and didn't like win a championship, we would start being like, well, what's the problem? It's got to be the assistants or something, So he started to get blamed for that, and they had to fire him. And Heupel, he's not like a super emotional guy. He didn't like hold it's not like really angry. You don't see him lose his mind on the sideline too much, but I've heard he does hold a grudge there. I heard he has some hurt feelings there, and I think we are going to. I think we're going to boat race Oklahoma. I'll be honest. I think it's a 30-point win.
I'm sorry. I've got to read this one. Of all Rob Johnson, I just bought a whole can of different tomatoes. Autism at its finest. Oh, God. Okay.
Well, that's pretty good, honestly.
So I guess everybody bring a can of tomatoes to tailgate Saturday, and we can have some chili.
It better be a big pot.
I do feel better about the Oklahoma game. I saw in the ESPN predictor, like the projections, like it went up in our favor, like 60-something% of us winning that game.
Yeah, did you see during the game, the NC State game, the predictor of Tennessee come up of how, like, the percentage of the games they were, actually favored to win and favored to lose in? Like, did you see that? And Kirk
yeah,
like read it, and then like it went off the screen, and Kirk said, "Hey, bring that back up. Like, show all the rest of Tennessee's schedule and the percentage of them winning or losing." He's like, "This is kind of crazy." He's like, "There's no way that Tennessee has it was like a 36% chance of beating Alabama when we're at home." And he was like, that's crazy. He's like, and Georgia was like 22% win. And Kirk was like, yeah, that's the one that I can maybe see that. That was the most realistic one, like Tennessee is going to Athens.
Yeah.
But all the other ones, it's like Alabama's coming here and you give us like almost a 30% chance to win. Like, and Kirk was like, is this serious? Like, where do you
After
get
last time they were here, we beat them and we got a better team this year.
Yeah,
I mean,
you got a better team than that previous team.
Legit, right now, do you think we're better than Alabama? Like straight up. Not just like at home beating them. I think we're straight up better than Alabama. I think we're better on the line of scrimmage. I think we're better at quarterback. I think we're better at maybe running back. I think maybe secondary, they probably got our number. Well, actually, that was the number one area for concern for Alabama. I remember hearing from Saban. So honestly, I think we're straight up. I think we beat them head to head.
Did y'all watch the Alabama game at all?
I saw the score. That was it was a 5-point game with 6 minutes in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, 42-16 was the final score. That's not at all as close as as bad of a score, the final score as it looked, because South Florida was in it almost the entire game, and
just like last year.
Yeah, it's just like last year. But Golish, he does the same hurry up as he did here at Tennessee. We do the same hurry up as, even though after he left, the same offense. Alabama was struggling against that hurry up. I mean, they were really struggling. And in my brain, and in my thought process, I'm sitting here saying, if they're struggling against South Florida and their hurry up, what can Tennessee actually do against Alabama when Alabama is in Neyland Stadium? And they got
the noise,
with everything, because Alabama didn't have no noise. They have no noise. Like, so watching that South Florida game, watching that hurry up, I even tweeted this out. The hurry up offense is really getting to Alabama this game. And it did. Like, they were having a lot of problems slowing that down. And South Florida doesn't have a lot of talent, but Tennessee's got a lot of talent and a lot of players.
Am I crazy? Or is college football across the board, there's like 5 really good teams and the rest is just kind of a mess.
Yeah. And we're one of those 5.
Mm-hmm. I would say, okay, the really good teams, I would put Georgia, Texas, Ohio State, even though I haven't been that impressed, but I would say just based on everything they have, it has to be Ohio State. I go Tennessee and Ole Miss. And those are, I'm trying to think of another one I throw in there. Those are kind of the 5. Oregon has been really impressive. I saw multiple people have them as a national champion, and they've almost lost twice to the state of Idaho to start the year. They've skated by both those teams.
I'm going to get to Jordan Taylor's question that he just proposed.
That's a good question.
So many wide receivers to choose from for Nico this season. Which Vol receiver has the best season? Before we get to that question, I do want to mention a team. Do you guys think they are for real or a pretender? Miami football team. They beat Florida A&M. I know it's Florida A&M, but it's 56-9. And then the previous week they destroyed Florida. Are they for real or are they just fake? Like they seem to always be.
That's the thing. Who knows? That's another one we didn't talk about earlier. Like, we don't know what they actually have, because I don't think Florida's very good.
I would throw. I'll actually let me re-clarify. I think I throw Miami in that category of really good team. I think they're good. Yeah. I think they're good. Is a great QB, and
Ward is awesome.
That's not fake. That's legit. And Cristobal, he's always been a good assembling talent. He has a lot of problems as a head coach, but I mean, I know that team's talented. I know I've seen them. They've been hell on their recruiting trail. So I would put them in the legit good category. Missouri might be in that too. I haven't been that impressed, but I mean, they played nobody the first 2 weeks, but I mean, they only had 30 points with 2 minutes to go against Buffalo. I mean, we'd have 50 in that situation, but it's different strategy. So who knows?
Yeah. All right. Back to Jordan Taylor's question. So many wide receivers to choose from Nico this season. Which fall receiver has the best season? Who do you got?
I mean, I don't know. Like, what do you consider the best? Like, because was the guy that finished with most catches, most touchdowns, most receiving yards. I don't know. I'm probably going to have to go with Brew because he seems like a safety net for Nico right now. But honestly, I would have said Thornton before yesterday's game, but they shut Thornton down.
That 3-3-5 was tough on Nico. I got to be honest. With time, he's going to figure that out, though. We could run on it. I mean, so
Austin,
you can't do that all day.
You say that, Austin. The 3-3-5 was rough on Nico, and it was. But dude, he still picked it apart at times. I mean, like completely apart. Like he was throwing passes to where our guys were just jogging into the end zone. They were so open, and the Thornton for me, DR is. I think Thornton is going to be one of those guys that has an incredible game and a kind of quiet game. An incredible game, a kind of quiet game. He's going to be one of those guys that just emerges in certain situations in certain games.
Kind of like Javonte Payton, how he was the first year under Heupel. Yeah, I could see that. Yeah.
Perfect example, yes. And to go with Jordan Taylor's question, for me, it's Squirrel White. Nico seems to really like Squirrel White.
And he looked good yesterday, too.
He seems to really like him.
Are we talking about most receptions or most yards?
I think he means like overall, just like who makes the biggest impact of a receiver. Like I don't think he means like stat wise or anything like that. I just think like who is the most important guy? And I'm going Squirrel White.
I'm going actually. I'm gonna agree with DR with Brew because I feel like Brew is gonna make the bigger. Like I don't know. I feel like sometimes Squirrel will get his big catches, but I feel like Brew is gonna be there for like that. We freaking need this catches. He's the safety net.
Kind of like how Juwan was when he was here.
He wins those one-on-one battles just like he did just like he did down the field at the end of the Alabama game. He's so good at winning those one-on-one battles where it's like a jump ball.
Go ahead.
One question on Brew. I'm sorry, Randy. Does he not seem faster this year, or is that me? I know
he's leaner.
Like he's slimmed down. Yeah, he's slimmed down. But it's insane after that leg injury that he looks so much quicker.
Well, he's leaner. Mm-hmm. He's lost a lot of weight. I mean, he was like at 235-ish or something like that. And he's like at 220 now. Like he's
faster.
Yeah, he's not as big as he was. He's quicker. He's leaner. He's more athletic. I guess you can go up and get the ball. But
I'm gonna say it's for all the receivers. Sorry, go ahead.
No, well, I was just gonna say like I think you're kind of going the same direction, Austin, with all the receivers. Like I think Nico is going to have a field day with tight ends. He loves tight ends. Like he absolutely loves tight ends, and we've got two really good tight ends.
We've upgraded on tight ends this year.
Yes,
he's an ass man. Yep.
Yes. Yeah.
That was good. That was good. Good recovery from the can of tomatoes comment.
Yeah. You made it. Yeah.
Who doesn't like a nice can of tomatoes, man?
Rob,
I opened up a can of tomatoes yesterday, Austin, and made taco soup. So I do like a can of tomatoes.
Hey, everyone bring can of tomatoes. I'll take your can of tomatoes happily. Have a food drive.
I'm gonna laugh and look over at the tailgate table and there's like 50 cans of
piled up.
Do we have a food drive? No, Austin's just said some things stupid. First mayonnaise, next mustard, cans of tomatoes. You're just gonna fill up the whole freaking cupboard.
Well, why is there a bunch of relish here? But to go along with like we're saying, like the tight ends are such a crucial part, and the wide receivers. Like this team is so freaking deep. At just offensive players, it's insane.
I know, man. It's nuts. And like you had what's his face was out yesterday. God, what's his name? Sheldon Cam
Seldon.
Cam Seldon was out. We didn't miss a beat yesterday at all. And Kisselman, man, that play he scored on, he was wide freaking open.
That was a beautiful play call by Heupel.
And there was another play too with him where we had a legal man downfield. Which was
so
barely. That was so stupid, but he was wide open.
Kirk Herbstreit was mad on that. He's like, I didn't do anything. You don't call that there.
Yeah, and he was wide open then too. So it's like I feel like in this offense, Josh Heupel, and I'm so sick of hearing this is such a gimmick off. It's not gimmicky, dude. If it was gimmicky, then you could stop it. It's not gimmicky. It's strategic.
So,
He is shooting people wide open. Like, that's not gimmicky. That's smart.
What does that even mean? Like,
That's stupid.
I saw a stat the other day. We're rushing. We haven't allowed a single sack, and we're rushing. I think what is averaging like 200 something yards a game rushing. Yeah, such a crazy gimmick. Winning at the line of scrimmage. What a weird gimmicky offense.
Bishop does. Hey, I'm surprised he's turned out like he has.
Yeah, Vol Rob chimes in and said Bishop looked good. I want to tell you about a play that was the most impressive play he did all entire game. When Nico got hit, his arm got hit, and that pick six happened. Bishop almost caught that guy from behind. I mean, that dude was
quick, man.
That dude, I am going to love to see that man break along with, like, just hit the hole and just go, because that guy is so fast. He almost caught that guy that ran back for a pick six. I mean, and plays like that are hustle plays, and you never know what can happen like that. He could hit the guy's arm, the ball could fly through the end zone, be a touchback. Like, that kind of stuff right there is why he is on this roster, an important key on this roster. That dude is a hustler, man.
You talking about hustle plays, man. What about that hit Nico laid on the guy on his first interception? He laid him out.
Oh yeah.
Oh God, yeah. Yeah.
And
Nico,
that's
that builds you some respect from your teammates right there.
100%. One other thing I noticed about the offensive line. Well, there's two things, but Spraggins, dude, is he not like the enforcer of our offense?
Yeah.
Like, he is always like, he is continuing down the field. He was so fun to watch, because usually when I rewatch a game, I want to watch the line, because during the game, you're not watching the line, or I'm not anyway.
Yeah.
I'm watching where the ball's at. But dude, he was just constantly down the field going with the play. And y'all have got to go back, if you didn't notice it the first time, go back and watch the play before we audibled and converted that third and long. It was second down where Sampson got hit like 2 or 3 yards in the backfield. Lance Hurd murdered the nose tackle. He did a stunt, and he was left tackle. He went down and hit the nose tackle so hard his helmet went flying off. It was an awesome hit.
Our offensive line. You bring that up, and the clip of where both were offensive linemen just destroy that linebacker and just drive him into their own bench and just keep going. And then all the flags start flying. NC State players get mad, coaches get mad. Tennessee player walks over, just shoves NC State player out of the way. That is the exact moment where I was like, oh my God, like, they are in their head.
Big time.
Did they do that because they were mad at how Nico got thrown down the ground out of bounds?
It could have been. I mean, I don't know.
That's why I thought maybe because it happened bang bang like that. But it was a separate people. It was like a separate incidents at the same time.
Yeah.
But I like to believe it was that.
I noticed 2 times, man, where it panned over the NC State sidelines when our guys were over there. Even the guys that weren't dressed out, I don't know if they were walk-ons or what.
Yes, I saw that.
Watch it. They were chirping and like, dude, what are you gonna do? Like,
it was this blonde-haired guy.
Nico's face. Yeah, he got
the blonde-haired guy.
Yes,
and he was like yelling at him. He was like saying the F word, stuff like that. And Nico turns around like, "What are you gonna do?
What are you talking about?"
He probably was looking like came the signature Nico, just like
he's probably like, you're an unathletic saltine yourself.
You're on the bench for this team, dude. That's saying you can be on this podcast, man. That's what's next for your life. Okay?
Oh my God.
Well, that kid, the way as aggressive and he's an enforcer, Spraggins was playing. If he'd done that to Spraggins, he would have opened up a can of tomatoes on him and whipped him on national television.
And Campbell, remember he drove that Virginia guy into the wall for no reason.
Yeah.
You know what it reminds me of in the movie The Blind Side, when he was like, coach said finish the
put him
play
on the
or
bus.
something like that. Put him on the bus. Ben Nelson chimes in. Ben Nelson chimes in. One stat that doesn't blow my mind: 0 third or fourth down conversions in the second half. The defense is the real deal.
I didn't realize
0 third or fourth down conversions in the second half. Ben, that's an awesome stat. That's wild to me. That does blow my mind.
Here's a guy in the secondary that really impressed me. Jermod McCoy. He man, he had that stop on 4th down. He can lay it, man. He's our by far our best corner. The guy from Oregon State who actually balled out as a freshman there, and that's why he came over here.
Yeah.
Thank God we got one guy in our secondary that's kind of like an enforcer like that. This defense is so solid. But I don't know. Partially, I mean, I do think we're really good. Also, I think NC State isn't that good at all. So it's kind of hard to say still.
Colton Ditmore chimes in. Could have opened a can of Campbell's soup.
Well, what about Boo? Like, I think it was their second possession when that Concepcion. I don't. What kind of name is that? Is he French or whatever? The dude, Boo was stride with that guy. I know how
he was.
We know Boo's good. He was a 5-star or borderline 5-star, whatever. But he held his own against a future NFL wide receiver.
Boo's gonna be good, bro. I mean, he's already good, but that guy's
wise, he can hold up with anyone.
Well, I noticed because he got a sack, number 25, Thomas, how fast he was on that blitz. Obviously, he's going to look fast because he kind of timed the snap really well. But we've got some speed back there.
Yeah, that was a transfer from MTSU. He's pretty freaking good.
Yeah.
They got some good ones. I did see Danico Slaughter actually doing some for Arkansas earlier. It's weird to see your guys over there, but
Slaughter was getting burnt all game.
He was.
He looked exactly how he looked for us.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just get burnt.
Poor Arkansas, man. I get we all get into fights on Twitter with them and whatnot, but I do in a way feel sorry for Arkansas fans. I feel like they get the worst. They've been in our decade of dysfunction in terms of just the nut shots for I'm talking their entire history as a program. I mean, they finally had a great head coach. Oh, he's screwing the volleyball girl, and so he's got to go away after he wrecked Harley, and then it seems like when Arkansas hits a wall, it's the worst. They're getting blown out by San Jose State and just making the most boneheaded mistakes ever. And
their lows are lower than ours for sure.
And of course, they're up early in this game against a top 25 team on the road, and they blow it and absolutely get stabbed in the gut more than as a worst loss you can ever ask for.
We got a young Tennessee fan watching Will Ladd right now. Okay. Him and my son Cruz, they're gonna help me announce. I got a good story about that. Help me announce a junior high game next week.
Oh, that's awesome.
I do kind of feel bad for Arkansas fans. I'm not one to pull for SEC teams, but I know two people really well one's Arkansas grad, and man, you do kind of feel for them. I mean, heck, they had a great basketball coach, and he just kind of I don't know what happened with their season last year. Man.
A lot of talk about that team. Trying to think of a way to say that funny, but it's not coming to me right now. And then baseball, I mean, they've been up there for so long, and then they blow the College World Series like you've never seen before, and they can never win it. They're good every year, but don't win it. And they got to see their former assistant come here and win it for us, who we didn't even care about the sport.
That's got
6 years ago.
I guess that basketball team for Arkansas, man, they were so bad last year. The only parade they were going to be in is the one in June for sure.
There you go. You got it. Couldn't let that one go.
All right, so we got Kent State this weekend. We will all be there tailgating. DR, Austin, myself. I'll be a little late because I'm going to a concert in Huntsville on Friday night, so I'll be there midway through the tailgate. But I'll be there, but no one really cares if I'm there or not. So it's irrelevant.
No, we don't.
But we got Kent State.
I don't know why you brought it up.
Huh? Well, no. But
we don't like you, Rainey.
Not a lot of people
say it. No.
Well, Rainey's got some important issues to take care of that day, Austin. We'll be a few cans of tomatoes deep by the time he gets there, but the indigestion will set in. This is random, guys. I do think we ought to start doing after we play a game, I don't know why I thought of this, say one good thing about who we beat. I don't know why I've always liked NC State's logo. I like that throwback logo on their helmets that they had.
That
it's pretty cool.
Awesome. That wolf is
It's
awesome.
nice.
A lot of that.
Did you see the guy on Twitter who was saying like he can't wait for Nico to tear his ACL just like Hooker?
Yeah.
That guy had it rough.
I'm not going to be a hypocrite because I'm very guilty of it, but that guy, he's verified. I think he was coming at Tennessee fans for interactions so he can get paid more. I think he used and abused it.
I heard he was like 15 years old.
I don't blame him.
I don't know. But I will say when it was going bad, man,
found out his age.
I heard someone tell me he was like 15.
Are we talking about that homeless rapper again? Now that we're back to underage, why do we keep bringing this?
He was either like 25 or 60. I can't tell you how old that guy was. But yeah, the NC State. I just didn't get the confidence. That's one thing I will just comment on. Like, I kind of got their mentality. It reminded me actually, if ironically enough, when we were going to the Duke's Mayo kickoff, or I guess it was the Belt kickoff, against West Virginia, and we had a first-year head coach.
That's a great comparison.
We thought because we were Tennessee, we were going to kick their ass or something. But West Virginia, that might be the best team in the history of West Virginia football. We were facing.
No. Pat White team, man.
Yeah, that was not even close, bro.
They went to they were incredible.
Those Pat White teams, those who was a running back?
Steve Slayton, Pat White.
It was one of the best. They're really good. They were really good. But we had no reason to be confident. I mean, we didn't even know our running back or anything like that. And we were starting GG for God's sakes. And that's why I just didn't get like in my head. I'm like, how would we lose this game? Because we're gonna destroy your. Yeah. No, I was talking about like what I was thinking about, like with the NC State fans and West Virginia fans. I've been thinking the same thing with us. Like, we're so much better at every position. How would we lose to you? And God bless Grayson McCall look bad.
They're thinking real quick before we wrap this podcast, but they're thinking that those people don't pay attention to Tennessee football. They just don't. Like, that's not even in their mindset. They're the ACC. They're thinking that Tennessee is the same old Tennessee. And that's exactly where their brain was at. And Tennessee's not even close to where they used to be. Tennessee's what we were just explaining here a little while ago. Tennessee is one of those top 5, 6, 7 teams in the country that are just good at football. And everyone else, it's those top 5, 6, 7 teams, then everyone else. And Tennessee's one of those top teams. And they didn't think that. They thought we were the Tennessee of old of like, oh, they're just Tennessee. They're going to blow it. No, this team, that's not how we do it anymore. That's not how it is anymore.
And I think it set in for the fans, at least on Twitter and at the game, that pick six. Go back. And also, I think you're the one posting the meme, but all the memes of the sad NC State fans came from the camera shots that pick six. They knew then that they were in over their head for that game. And I think Grayson McCall, his demeanor changed as well. Because even like when we went to kick it back off, remember that was when the return man treated it like it was a punt return and he was just going to let it go. And then he's like, oh, wait, I got to grab the ball. They're going to get it.
Yeah.
That changed the entire game.
Yeah, there was a deer in they talked about, like, I heard them talking about the game months ago, how this is the biggest game on their schedule. They had it circled. This is like, and I listened to Josh Pate, and he was like, I've talked to those people in Raleigh, and this is on. They've been circling this on their schedule. Tennessee, they're kind of just treating this as a game, just another game. But this is the season for NC State, and they came out. And we didn't even play that great. We were kind of sloppy. We were like a little hungover, it looked like. And it's like, that didn't work. Oh, crap. We dropped that pass. But NC State, that was everything for them. That was their like lose yourself moment. That was the biggest game on their schedule. And they just got destroyed. It wasn't even close. They only got points on the board because our quarterback's arm got hit on a pick six. We were scoring on that possession if that pick six didn't happen. It's so satisfying to not suck at football anymore. I just love the fact that this can happen. We can play our not great game and murder someone and absolutely rip the soul out of their bodies, kind of like Georgia does. We're getting to that point because Josh Heupel has really executed this rebuild so well, and I think we've arrived. That's kind of proof. What I saw, that is just straight up proof. Tennessee football, it's not like, oh, can't wait to get back anymore. We kind of are back. I really think we're back as a program. This is not a the next step here, next step here. I think we're kind of here. We're going to get better at times, but I think we're at this top level now.
It's kind of like Tennessee baseball. Keep knocking on that door, and eventually it open.
Yep.
But it's like a NC State game was a measuring stick game. We are the best team NC State's going to play all year. NC State for us, what are they? Maybe fourth best team we'll play this year. Fifth best.
I mean,
Bama, Georgia obviously is better. Oklahoma's probably better because their defense is better. But who else would you put
on a
Florida beat them?
I would say Florida beat them.
Florida beat them.
NC
State's just not good.
No.
They only have 12% blue chip prospects. I mean, it's just
before the Kentucky game. I would have said that I would have thought they would beat Kentucky would beat them, but now I don't know.
They still might. I don't know.
Kentucky is bad.
Who
Their
else?
quarterback.
I think Vandy might beat
39 yards. Kentucky's quarterback 39 yards all game.
He's terrible, man.
Over 39 yards. God, he was three for 19 or something. It was something stupid.
Well, and thing is, man, next week Kentucky has Georgia. They're screwed. They're going to start out in the conference 0-2. And then they were talking about making the playoffs.
I honestly thought they were going to blow South Carolina out because South Carolina awful. They had no offense. And I didn't see much of that game. I'm not gonna lie, I was mostly score watching that one. But man, they just got demolished. It was just how at home with a packed out environment and like everyone like that you can't come out flat for that. I mean, it's just like it's South Carolina. It's a team you're evenly matched talent wise. How do you let that happen? I mean, you have a better coach too. I think maybe South Carolina did cheat again. I don't know.
I think Kentucky is just really bad, and South Carolina is really bad too. I don't think South Carolina is good at all. I think Kentucky is just that bad. I think Kentucky, their quarterback play is awful. They do this every single year with their quarterback. Oh, here he comes. Watch out.
Yep. Every year.
Your quarterbacks suck every time. Your system sucks. Your quarterbacks always suck.
Wait, what?
Every year.
Wait, hold on. What?
That's a stupid argument. Their quarterbacks suck because of the system. I'm a Titans fan. My name's Austin. I'm a Titans fan. No, you're not. You don't fucking like the Titans. Shut the fuck up.
I watched every minute of that game.
You don't like Titans. I don't care what you say. You don't like them.
But Levis last year with Kentucky.
You gotta love the Titans. You gotta make sure you don't want a good quarterback if you love Titans.
Do y'all think that though maybe Stoops has lost the locker room because he did try to get the A&M job, and then he talked about all offseason how bad his players were because he wouldn't get the support in NIL to get better players. So I don't think they believe in him anymore.
I mean, didn't they get money though? I mean, that was a 5-star QB they got, but he was a transfer from Georgia.
His time is passing by. Like his style, everything he does, it just doesn't work.
He's a lot like the guy we just destroyed, Dave Doran. He's a lot like
he's peaked. Yeah,
he's a 9-3 at best coach. They're never gonna neither program. Well, I guess Kentucky did one time because of the bowl game, but you're more than likely never going to get a true 10-win season out of either of those programs.
They still don't have a 10-win season. Remember, they got forfeited.
Oh yeah! Oh, sun shines bright in my old Kentucky home. God, it must suck to be a Kentucky fan. I mean, what do you got? I mean, I guess basketball. I mean, you just pray to God you get better, but then again, you have to hire a guy who's never won a game in the tournament.
Kentucky basketball to me is like Notre Dame football. Like they're always hyped up every year and talked about, and they're well respected because of their history. But dude, Notre Dame, their last championship was before I was born. I was born in '89, and like Kentucky, it's been what 10 years since they made a Final Four, or is that a championship? I thought
Notre Dame won in like 92 or something like that.
They won in '88.
No.
88.
88 was the last one. But what is it? Yeah, Kentucky did win in 2012, and they made the Final Four in 2014. I wouldn't put them in the same category because Kentucky will always be a top 3 recruiting class, and Notre Dame, it's a good year if they get in the top 10. So I'm not saying it's the apples to apples there. But yeah, I see similarities.
Tomato, it's more like tomato kind of thing.
Yeah.
Ketchup. Yeah, I don't think it's the same exact thing, but I do get what you're saying. I mean, it's similar. I think Kentucky, I mean, they should be good because I mean, it's basketball. It's a lot different than football. Like basketball, you can win anywhere. Like, but in football, some teams just it's kind of hard to win. Like if you're at like a school that's a really high academic standard and in the middle of nowhere, Indiana, it's kind of hard to build that back. But I mean, it's possible for Notre Dame, but you'd have to get really lucky in a lot of spots. And my God, how do you lose to Northern Illinois? I'm just like, if you have a top 15 team talent wise, like Notre Dame, they rank similar to us in terms of roster talent based on recruiting rankings. You should just be able to line up and just beat the hell out of those teams. That's what you should be able to do. Just run the ball down their throats and I don't get why people don't do the tempo thing more. I mean, it's so easy. You know, it's so obvious to me. You know, like go fast, they can't set up. You know, it's just like with Heupel as my head coach, it's like my brain just watches other teams don't do that, and it's just like, why wouldn't you? It's free money. You know, just take the yardage.
I get upsets happen. I mean, Nick Saban famously his first year lost to like Louisiana Tech or something. I don't remember who it was.
I think it was UL Monroe.
Monroe.
But
he lost to Utah in the bowl game.
But
that
it's like
though.
I think some of it's coaching though, because we lost to Georgia State, but who's our coach? Like under Heupel, I don't ever see us, knock on wood, ever losing to like a Rice or something like somebody like that.
No.
The only time that kind of had the similar vibe was actually with Joe Milton and Austin P, and also Joe Milton versus Bowling Green. So outside of starting Joe Milton, we're fine.
So as long as Joe Milton doesn't return, we should be good.
But he had great numbers.
Did he?
Yeah.
That's
stupid people. Oh, he did. He had decent numbers. People were like,
he didn't throw interceptions. Yeah,
you guys are just so stop bashing Joe Milton.
Milton is so polarizing. If you put anything about him on Twitter, somebody's getting mad.
Yeah, he's so weird.
It's odd,
I posted some the other day. No one got mad. I was amazed. I was legit like, "Whoa, is this okay to say now?" Because Nico's playing. Yeah. Whoa, it was a comment.
Whoa.
So.
Oh, okay. I was like, you didn't have a slang term or anything, did you?
Oh my God.
That's so good. It's so good to be good. Do you think? I wonder if Texas. I think Michigan's just really bad. You're right. I don't think they're that good. I just think we got to wait for the real matchups to happen.
Well, they lost their quarterback and lost their, most importantly, their head coach. And they just did like what Notre Dame did. They just promoted the guy within because they didn't want to lose the locker room, which I think is dumb. You may like it, yeah, like you got to look at your long-term success over short-term. To me, if he's a good enough coach, he can retain some guys. I mean, look at what all we lost when we hired Heupel when we got rid of Pruitt, but it's worked out. Here we are 4 years later, and we think we can make a playoff.
Yeah. And you know that their style, once you lost that coach, it was never going to hold up because they were just it was such a certain way. Felt like, and also they cheat a lot. I think that was a big part of it. I gotta be honest, because you look at the teams they beat sometimes, and like, man, you were a lot better than them. Or I don't think talent wise they were a lot better than Ohio State ever, but they somehow always beat them.
What's your final score for this week? Tennessee versus Kent State.
Oh God,
60 something to single digit.
I want a shutout, like no field goal, nothing. Yeah, I'll go. Let's go 65-0.
I was going 66-0.
What if we're going to roll into Norman with our defense not letting up one touchdown in 12 quarters of play?
That'd be crazy.
What if we leave with a 16 quarters without letting up a touchdown? Because hell, they didn't look. I mean, it's. I'm not saying it's probably not going to happen, but I'll say there's like a 4% chance that happens. I'm not kidding.
I'm gonna go watch the Oklahoma game when we get off here. Like, I am so intrigued at how bad, because you are talking about how bad the offense looks.
They got 2 touchdowns on Houston. That's it.
Yeah, they got 2 touchdowns and a safety. On Houston. Houston's a bad team.
Houston, a bad team. Like that's a bad team.
It's a bad team. They're not the Houston of old. They're bad.
No,
they're bad.
Who's their coach?
But anyway, we will. Good Lord of God Almighty. Anyway, we will wrap up this podcast. I am Brady alongside DR and Austin, who can tell you a stat from 1970, but can't remember where he put his keys. We will do this again next week. Peace out. God bless and go Vols.
See y'all for tailgate.
Go Vols.